That sound of terror ripped off peace in the northeast for several years prior to 2015. And amidst that, President Muhammadu Buhari took over the mantle of leadership as Nigeria's president, promising to take on the issue headlong.
Victory cannot be achieved by building the command and control center in Abuja. The command center will be relocated to Maiduguri and remain until Boko Haram is completely subdued.
While those words ignited hope in the minds of many Nigerians, attack by the Boko Haram insurgents in the northeast went unabated, with hundreds of innocent Nigerians killed, including over 40 peasant farmers murdered in Koshebe town in Borno State in 2020. Clashes between farmers and herders, banditry and kidnapping for ransom have also emerged as new forms of criminality under the Buhari government, leading to huge casualties and displacement of people across states in the north central and northwest.
By 2015, we are contending with Boko Haram alone in the northeast. But when the heat was turned on the terrorists in the northeast, they spread to north central, propagating the same ideas of Boko Haram.
The roads have become nightmares and the railways under attack, with some of the passengers abducted from a train along the Abuja-Kaduna rail still in captivity. Available statistics shows at least 17,158 fatalities have been recorded as a result of insecurity between January 2021 and September 24, 2022, while 1,821 people were injured and 9,585 people were abducted in 630 local government areas across the country.
Our leaders are not doing anything. They are failures.
Another area of concern is the mass abduction of school children in the last 7 years. At least 5 incidences have been recorded under the administration, and according to the United Nations Children Emergency Fund, UNICEF, more than 1,000 school students have been abducted, with over 600 schools shut down as a result of insecurity. Although the government has secured the release of most of the victims, Leah Sharibu, one of the girls abducted from a school in Dapchi in Yobe State, is still in captivity 4 years after, while the remaining Chibok school girls who were abducted in 2014 are yet to be released.
The entire northern half of the country are walking to a situation where a significant portion of public schools are either shut down, or even where they're not shut down, the ability to run regular educational classes is almost impossible, maybe as a result of insecurity.
However, the Buhari's government has increased funding for security from 968 billion naira in 2015 to over 2.4 trillion naira in 2022.
One of the challenges that has befuddled the Nigerian security sector is the lack of equipment. So if you look at the armed forces as an example, the Buhari administration has invested heavily on the procurement of equipment, both for the army, the Air Force, and then the Navy.
Nevertheless, it appears security operatives, including the military, are gaining some victory over insecurity in Nigeria recently. An analysis of the bi-weekly report by the Defense Headquarters between January and September 2022 shows at least 5,000 terrorists and bandits have been neutralized, over 10,000 others arrested, and more than 20,000 terrorists and their families have surrendered to troops in various operations.
The air component of Operation Hadarin K, while acting on credible intelligence, conducted air interdiction at Somalia in Sambisa Forest and bombarded a terrorist critical facility.
I speak.
President Muhammadu Buhari is also not losing hope of fixing the security challenges in the country, as stated in his last Independence Day address to Nigerians as head of state.
I share the pains Nigerians are going through, and I assure you that your resilience and patience will not be in vain as this administration continues to reposition as well as strengthen the security agencies to enable them to deal with all forms of security challenges.
By February 2023, Nigerians will be heading to the polls, and one area the electorate must not undermine in their engagement with those seeking to lead the country is their ability to deal decisively with the issues of insecurity in Nigeria. Empress Simon, Channels Television News.
For more on addressing the challenge of insecurity, Manu Yagda, Navy Commander retired, and Chairman Danboy Conflict and Security Consultancy Services, DACODEC, joins me now on the news at 10. Welcome to the news.
I'm honored to be present. Thank you very much.
Let's begin. What's your overall assessment of the Buhari-led government in the area of security?
Well, in looking at what this administration has done about the security issue of this country, it depends on which angle one looks at it. This administration, on one hand, has tried very well, but at the same time, on the other hand, there are some lapses. Now, if you look at the beautiful things that this administration has done, everybody knows. By 2015, movement alone within Abuja is very difficult. You cannot pass in front of defense headquarters. You cannot pass in front of central bank. You cannot pass in front of DSS or military. In fact, all military formations and police have been barricaded. At the same time, you remember that by 2015, everybody knows what happened on the 25th of April, 26th of April at the police headquarters, and then on the 16th of August at the United Nations, all in 2011. And then what happened at Nyanya on the 14th of April 2014 within Abuja. But with the coming of this administration, you discover that gradually all these problems melted away. Today, you can pass in front of any KP in Abuja without any problem. This is an achievement. Secondly, we discovered that at 2015, when somebody is moving from Abuja, for instance, to Jos, it will take nothing less than 4 to 5 hours because of too many checkpoints with long queues being manned by hard-looking soldiers. But gradually, with the coming of this administration, all those obstacles have been cleared. Now going to the Northeast. If you go to the Northeast, everybody knows that this administration has done very well in curtailing Boko Haram.
So Yagda, you've used about 2 minutes to talk about the pluses for this government. But in terms of what we're seeing now, in terms of the fears, people traveling by road, in terms of, those who are displaced, who are crying out, what in your assessment is going on? And this is also seeing as we've had more funding allotted to securing the country than as at 2015. Briefly, because we're running out of time.
I have not get you very well, but can you please repeat, because the echo is disturbing my...
You've talked about the pluses for this government, but funding has increased in security since 2015, and there is a reason for this. We're asking about those who are afraid to travel by road, by train. What are your thoughts on the solutions and the way forward to curbing insecurity in Nigeria, briefly?
Well, even though I have not heard it very well, but coming to the issue of the security situation in this country, as I was saying earlier, when you look at one side, on the other side, if you look at this administration, when this administration came in, the issue of banditry, the issue of kidnapping, the issue of farmers' herders clash, the issue of cattle wrestling. They were there, but at the minimal level. But gradually, I don't know what actually happened, but you discover that all these things that I've mentioned, they have now transformed from minor skirmishes to monster, which makes it very difficult, especially in the Northwest. Everybody knows that today, one of the problems we have is the issue of kidnapping in the Northwest, the issue of banditry in the Northwest. Now, as I was saying initially, all these things that I'm mentioning, when this administration came in, they were there, but they were there at a minimal level. But this administration allowed them to grow into a monstrous level that is very difficult to handle. That is why today, every citizen of this country is seriously worried about the security situation in this country. Nobody is safe. In fact, kidnappers these days, they don't even wait for you in the bush, but they are even entering the cities and towns to kidnap. It is that bad. Now coming to the issue of the banditry, which we are talking about, which is very prevalent in the Northwest. I'm very quick to say that to make sure that this issue of banditry is tackled, I think our best advice can go to the next administration. Yes, 7 months to the end of this administration is okay, but most of the things that if another administration comes in and they meet the same setup of our security architecture, then I bet you this banditry is not going to end.
I wish we had.
Our advice now is.
I really wish we had more time with you on this discussion. We'd like to appreciate you for joining us on the news at 10. Manu Yakda is a Navy Commander retired, also Chairman of Damboy Conflicts and Security Consultancy Services. We appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.